When I was in 8th grade, 7 years ago, I was preparing for the high school entrance exam. I wanted to score as high as possible so that I could get into my dream high school. But the problem was I could only concentrate 5 minutes. Literally after 5 minutes, my mind was everywhere. I was daydreaming, drawing something, looking out of the window, and wasn't really listening to the teacher. The exam that I was gonna take lasted, I think, about 90 minutes, 120 minutes, I don't really remember. But in order to study full day, I needed to improve my concentration. By trying different tactics, methods, and tricks, I trained my concentration from 5 minutes to multiple hours. If you have a short focus and if you are struggling with concentrating on a task for a long period of time, then this video is for you. Before trying to improve your focus, I want to give a disclaimer. This is a method that I used for myself. It worked for me. I figured out this method when I was 14, and I'm still using these tricks and tips when I see my focus is not really lasting. So it worked for me, but it might not work for you. The recommendation that I can give is, you know, try and see what works for you. So the step 1 will be figuring out which type you are. When I was talking to my friends, I realized that there are 2 types of people when it comes to concentration. This is not science-based or anything, this is just from my observations, so take it as a grain of salt. So the first type is short and deep one. So the first group of people who basically can use Pomodoro method. If you don't know about Pomodoro method, it's basically a study method where you study 25 minutes and then take 5 minutes of break, and you repeat the cycle, and after 4 times you take a 15 minutes of break, and you repeat and repeat and repeat and repeat. If you tried Pomodoro method, and if you see that this method works for you, then you're probably in group 1. So if you are able to concentrate for a short period of time, and after 5 minutes of break, if you don't have any difficulties to come back to your desk and study once again, you're probably in this group. And the second group is long focus but limited time type of a group, if it makes sense. So these are the people who can study for a longer period of time but having difficulties with coming back to your desk. So you can study like for an hour or maybe an hour and a half, but after you take a break, even like for 5 minutes, it turns into 10 minutes, 20 minutes, 30 minutes, and maybe a whole day you take a rest. If you're this type, maybe you're in group 2. Maybe you're saying, Ruri, I cannot even concentrate for 25 minutes. How the heck am I supposed to find whether I belong to group 1 or group 2? If you cannot concentrate 25 minutes, maybe it's not about your focus, but maybe there are too many distractions around you. I'm going to talk about how to solve them. After solving all these distractions, you can figure out which one you belong to. But for generally speaking, if you can concentrate more than 25 minutes, when you reflect back on your study skills or study patterns, you probably already know which group you belong. I belong to the second group, so I just cannot come back to my desk once again when I take a break. So Pomodoro method, I always hated that. It works for some people, but it does not work for me. It is just not for me. I just cannot follow a structured 25-5, 25-5, 15 type of a study schedule. It is just too boring for me. So I am group 2. Knowing your type is important because on step 2, we want to figure out which type you want to become. You can change basically your type. Maybe you have a bit more tendency to either of these groups, but of course you can change this focus type. In my experience, in my friend's experience, there is no such a thing as group 1 is better than group 2 or something. It totally depends on your goal. Do you want to spread your study time to entire day? For example, from Monday to Friday, you study all day long and only thing you do is studying, but you get a solid study session? Or do you want to like study every day but have a pretty intense studying session in the morning and then have the rest of the day for yourself? It totally depends on that person, and it totally depends how you want to study. But for me personally, I don't want to study all day long. Even if I can take like breaks here and there, I just don't want to spread my study sessions all day long because I have so many things other than studying that I want to do, like YouTube, going to the gym, spending time with family, friends, whatever. So I wanted to make my focus so packed and so intense in the morning so that I don't need to do any studying anymore in the evening. But for some people, they really don't like intense studying sessions, like 4-hour blocks or 3-hour blocks, and they say like, I feel like burnout, so I want to spread my study session the whole day so that I can have a bit of resting there, here and there, lunchtime, and then study again, but it doesn't work for me. In order to figure out which type you belong, of course, you need to calculate your focus in the first place. So the step 3 will be calculating your focus. We need to understand your starting point before talking about tips and tricks. So now stop the video and sit at your desk and try to concentrate on something. It can be studying, it can be work, or it can be whatever you want to focus. When you get distracted, take a pen and paper and write down how many minutes or maybe hours you could concentrate, and also write the reason why you got distracted. And do this calculating multiple times. Maybe give yourself a week, and each day, each time when you're trying to study or work, write down minutes and the reason why you got distracted, and do it for a week. So the step 4 will be analyze the reason. After a week, you will have a solid data of why you're getting distracted when you're studying or working. And now we're gonna analyze the reason why you're getting distracted. First thing first, take the average of your concentration so that we know how many minutes you can actually concentrate without getting distracted. It can be even 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 30 minutes. It totally depends on you. You don't need to be ashamed of your short amount of focus because everybody starts from a different point and it's totally fine. So just calculate your average focus time and note it somewhere. And also when it comes to distractions, figure out why you are getting distracted. If you can see a pattern, reason that is repeatedly occurring, mark it up and write it down. Why you are getting distracted. Sleep, nutrition, environment, your phone, or your mood, or the specific time of the day can be a great reason. By giving yourself honest feedback, you will be more conscious the next time you're trying to study or work or try to concentrate on something. Use the Pareto principle to train your focus. Observe the conditions and observe the things that you did differently on days you're productive versus you're unproductive, and repeat the things that helps you to make you more productive. So in order to create this environment, you might think, okay, I now understand my distractions, but how am I supposed to create a great environment that I can concentrate for multiple hours? So step 5 will be eliminate distractions. For each category that I figured out that happens to me, I came up with some solutions. So I'm gonna give you solutions, but the way you solve your problems can be different than mine. So always keep in your mind that you need to figure out what works for you. So the first one, I think when it comes to my concentration, I think the major reason is lack of schedule. I am type of a person who enjoys a scheduled day even if I'm not gonna follow that plan, because by scheduling I can see how much I can achieve in a day, and then I can have a realistic vision about my day. Sometimes I plan too much and sometimes I don't plan anything at all, and like I start middle of the day around like 1 p.m. or something. I'm like, it's already 1 p.m. I can't do anything, I'm just gonna lay all day long. It's not true, right? Just because you woke up at around like 1 p.m. it doesn't mean that the day is gonna be unproductive. If you have a scheduled planned day, you can clearly see what you can achieve or what you can't, and it gives you a great sense of time that you can control and that you can't control, because we usually overestimate what we can do in a day and underestimate what we can do in a year. Therefore, planning and scheduling really worked for me. So now I have a solid weekly, daily, and also monthly planning system that really works for me. If you guys want a video about it, I can make a video about it. The second major problem is distraction, of course. It can occur because of different reasons, and the first one is the phone. If your phone is always buzzing, if you're getting notifications constantly, of course your focus will not be that long because you want to check your phone. You can have the best self-discipline, but after a bit of time you want to check your phone because that's how they made it, you know? You just want to check your notifications and see who commented on your post or who sent you a message or something. So put it in your do not disturb mode, or on iPhone, I think with the new update, they have a couple of new focus functions, I guess, like work, sleep, do not disturb. You can set and arrange which apps you're gonna get notifications, and the great thing about the do not disturb mode is you can add people to your favorites, especially like I added my family to my favorite list, and even on do not disturb mode, if they will call me, I'll get the notification. You know, I live in abroad, I live in Italy, and my parents are in Turkey, so if something really urgent happens, I can still get the notification without getting distracted from, you know, daily conversations and kind of unnecessary things. The second distraction type is people. This can happen especially if you have younger siblings or louder roommates, or if you're like me who is really talkative and, you know, I like to go to my parents and tell about my day in the middle of my study session to procrastinate, because I like to talk, I like people, and I like to share my moments, you know? I think rather than telling them to be silent, the best method is changing the place you study. You can go to libraries, you can go to cafes, or maybe to your school or whatever, and find an environment that is quiet enough for you to study. Maybe you don't have the money to study in cafes, you know? When I was in high school, I was so broke that I couldn't even study in cafes because coffee is expensive. The thing that you can try is to study in different periods of time. So if your family is waking up around, I don't know, 10 a.m, 7 a.m. ish, you can wake up a bit earlier and then study early in the morning, or if you can stay up late and study in the midnight. It might not be the best thing to study in the midnight because you might not get enough sunlight exposure and it might mess up your sleep schedule, but maybe waking up 2 to 3 hours earlier than you do might work for you. Or try to figure out some public libraries that you can go to. The third major distraction is, I think, environment. Maybe in your house you might not have a proper desk setup that you can study, or maybe you're not getting enough light. Everything is possible. Arrange the schedule according to that so you don't need to study at home. But it might be really difficult for you to arrange your schedule according to that. So the tip that I can give is to separate your play, work, and study areas. Basically, don't study on your bed or don't eat something on your studying desk. Make a separate studying room. If it's not possible, if you only have one desk like I do, you can study at one corner and you can eat at one corner. By basically separating the work, play, and sleep areas, your mindset can be easily shifted when you sit to your study desk. You know, when I sit here, I ultimately turn on my study/work mode, so it's much easier for me to concentrate. When talking about distraction, I get so annoyed when a study material or anything I want to watch basically is not available in my country. So in order to solve this problem, use today's sponsor, NordVPN. With NordVPN, you can connect to 5,400 plus servers in 60 different countries, and you can connect to those servers just one click. You can either choose a country you want to connect to, or you can press the quick connect button so that it will choose a country to directly connect. Find a server near you for better speed, or in a fireware location for more content. And you know, sometimes when you use a VPN, it can be really slow and it's really irritating, but with NordVPN, you don't have to worry about that because NordVPN has a really fast speed. You can use it in 6 devices in every major platform. The great thing about it is, especially if you're like me, if you're constantly changing countries, like, you know, I'm sometimes in Italy, in Turkey, in Japan, sometimes I travel different countries, you don't miss any content or whatever material you want to watch or work on. With NordVPN, you always have access. And I have a discount code, of course. Get 2-year plan plus 1 month free by clicking the link nordvpn.com/study. And also, it's risk-free with Nord's 30-day money-back guarantee. Thank you, NordVPN, for sponsoring this video. I'll link them down in the description below. Don't forget to check them out. Another major distraction is, I think, boredom. It can be your passion in life, but sometimes we can still get bored of that. Now, yes, I want to study medicine, but it's sometimes so boring that I want to crush my head to a wall and like, you know, I don't want to study. You can still work for your goals and follow your passion, but sometimes it can be still boring because it's the part of the process, you know? When it comes to boredom, I think the thing that I can recommend is to study or work with your friends. For me personally, my friends are really, you know, motivated, highly motivated people, so I can study with them. If your friends are getting easily distracted, you can keep each other accountable and work together and have more fun while getting more done. Or if you're lonely and if you don't have friends, maybe try to listen some lo-fi music or classical music, or you can even try listening some ASMR while studying/working. Also, you can try out various apps for your focus like Forest and Pomodoro timers and such. I actually figured out quite a lot of good productivity apps, so if you want a video about it, comment down below. The other distraction, I think, type is the health condition. When your health condition is not good, by that I mean if you're not getting enough sleep, or if you're taking too much caffeine, or if you're not eating healthy, you can get distracted very easily because of course our body and our brain is connected, and if your body is not in a good condition, don't expect from your brain to concentrate for multiple hours. You need to put yourself in a good condition so that you can handle the studying and concentration like long period, you know? Just, you cannot expect to sleep sleep only 3 to 4 hours and have a deep flow concentration. You need to treat your body and your soul right in order to concentrate. I figured out, at least for me, when I eat high carb and high sugary foods before studying, my insulin spikes and I immediately become really sleepy and I cannot really concentrate well. So these days I try to avoid high carb foods before my studying session, and I try to take them a bit like afterwards, you know. If I take them right before, I just become too sleepy and I need to rely on too much caffeine to keep me awake, and it's not a good thing to do. So I try to avoid high carb and high sugary foods before studying. And you know, getting great amount of exercise really helped me too. I feel like after starting working out, my focus became more stable and I could concentrate like hours and hours without getting distracted, because I use excess energy during workout and I get the endorphins kicking, you know, after workout sessions. So I maintain my mental health too. But if you don't have access to gym or maybe working out, you can try doing meditations before and after your study session to keep you sane. Another factor can affect your concentration is your flow time. This is really debatable actually in productivity community, but the thing that I realized about myself is that I can either concentrate well on very early mornings or very late nights. I think it's due to the quietness of the environment. You know, I live alone, so my house is pretty quiet. But when I look outside, when I open my window, when everybody is quiet, when everybody's sleeping, I feel kind of superior and I can concentrate more. Or I tell myself that it's 5 a.m. What the heck are you doing? You're not gonna spend your time watching unnecessary YouTube videos when you woke up at like 5 a.m. You're gonna spend this time productively. Or when I'm staying up late around like 1 a.m, I tell myself like, Ruri, you're awake at 1 a.m. You could sleep now, but you chose this, so at least do something. So my mind works like that. So maybe that's the reason why I can concentrate more on early mornings or late nights. But after, you know, doing this concentration time and distraction thingy, you can realize your patterns too, and you can figure out whether you can concentrate better in the early mornings, maybe middle of the day if you're lucky, or maybe late at night. Try to arrange your schedule according to that. Like, so as you can see, there are various reasons of distractions and various ways to solve those problems, but it's totally up to you why you're getting distracted, and how you solve it is totally up to you. So always give yourself a feedback after you get distracted and note it and try to figure out how you can solve them. But after solving those problems, step 6 will be take an action. Of course, you can do the best analyze in the world, but if you're not taking an action, it doesn't make sense. Like, it's not gonna work. Of course, you need to actually implement these methods and work to see how you can improve. So you need to study and work. Just knowing the methods doesn't work. You need to implement them into your real life. And step 7 is repeat the cycle. Work, get distracted, analyze the reason, give yourself a feedback, solve the reason, work, get distracted. You know, this is just like a whole cycle that you need to repeat and repeat and repeat to find out your best method of studying and your concentration. And with the time, you can clearly see that your concentration is getting better and better with the time. I literally started from 5 minutes and I don't have any difficulties right now studying or working for like 3 hours. I want to improve it more so that I can reach the 4 hours. My goal is to, you know, study/work without getting distracted for 4 hours, because I usually do my studyings and working sessions in 3 to 4 hour blocks. Your goal can be really different than mine. Maybe you only want to focus for an hour, and that's totally fine. You know, everybody has different goals and different ways of living, so it's totally fine. And the last step is enjoy your flow. Once you reach the flow, once you figure out how to focus more and how to study and work and, you know, how to be efficient more, it's so fun because you're not getting distracted, you're doing the work, finishing, and then the rest of the day is for you and you can do whatever you want, and it's so enjoyable, you know? So enjoy the flow. Don't forget, always enjoying the process is important when you're trying to achieve something. You don't need to like sacrifice the current moment to achieve your goals or anything. You can enjoy the journey and still reach to your goals. It's totally up to your mindset, so always stay positive and be energetic towards life, you know? So yeah, that was it. If you find this video helpful, let me know in the comments down below so that I can create more videos about those type of things. And thank you NordVPN for sponsoring this video. Don't forget to check out the links down in the description below, and see you guys. Bye.